Hi there, it's Ed Ludbrook here, and this is a report that I do every year or so on the global direct sales industry. It coincides when the World Federation produces their global statistics, and I think it's really valuable for everyone in the industry to get just a simple understanding about what's happening in the industry. This is an area that I'm a specialist in. My books are by far the world's best-selling. And for many, many years, I have been the go-to guy when it comes to the sort of strategy and leadership areas of the business. And it is vital that whatever level you are, that you understand some facts and figures and some understanding about what's happening in the distribution side of your business, just like it's important to have some facts and figures about the future of your or current state of play in your product area. Okay, so I'm just going to cover what's in the report and pick out the juicy areas which I think you need to appreciate and understand, or it's just nice to know. Okay, the fact is that when we talk about direct sales, that's the whole area of network marketing, MLM, party plan, person to person. Basically, when you go direct to the consumer to sell your product and a human is involved in that process, either selling it or finding the customer, that's what we call direct sales. And last year, another massive year, $183 billion, up a little bit worldwide, which I think had the US dollar fluctuating had a little bit to do with those numbers. I think they're up a little bit more on a local currency basis, but the US dollar, which we report in, impacts it a little bit. But when it comes to people, at 103 million people, we're a huge industry, and you got to realize that doesn't include China. So you could probably add another 20 or 30 million people. So we are a massive industry. That's really the only thing you need to take away. We're a massive industry that is growing, unlike a lot of other industries. I love this chart here because it shows that the top 10 markets account for 80% of the sales. It's a classic 80-20 rule as far as, big countries are concerned. Shows that we are, as an industry, developed now. And that's why this whole professionalism of the industry that's happening across the world, this is a reflection of that. When we look at the regions, we see that Asia continues to be the powerhouse. It grew by 11% last year, 46% of the global revenues. It'll probably hit 50% next year. There's 10 markets with over 1 million people, where probably 2/3 of the industry is involved in Asia. The stars are China, India, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Korea, Malaysia, Philippines, Taiwan, and New Zealand, and Vietnam last year. Rockstar is obviously China, up 19% to $35 billion. They're just $1 billion short now of the USA to be the #1 market, and they only operate in 9 provinces of China, something like 27 provinces. So it's fantastic results. But the real superstar, if you ask me, is Korea. It overtook Japan last year to become the 3rd largest market in the direct sales world, with only 50 million people versus 125 million in Japan, or 300 million in the USA. It's spectacular, and because I know people who operate in Korea, there's only one word that reflects why they are so successful, and that is professionalism. These guys treat the industry as a serious profession. They are professional in what they are doing, and because of that, they get the results. Okay, they get the productivity that other markets just don't have. Asia is the rock star because it's entrepreneurial. They sell products. There's lots of success stories, and they work harder. It's a philosophy, though, that comes from the leadership. It's not just cultural, because there's some really big differences in the cultures across this marketplace. But now the direct sales world is Asia-centric versus it used to be based on the USA. Trust me, the Asians don't listen to what happens outside Asia. They have their own strategies. They follow their own gurus, and they are just going to keep powering ahead. When it comes to the Americas, if you look at North America, It's growing positively, not rocking, but it's obviously a major market. When we look at Latin America, it's also growing positively. In reality, their numbers look as though they're getting worse, but that's only because their currency versus the US dollar, which is what this is reported in, they're just not performing very well. There are $5 billion markets, and Brazil and Mexico are still the 5th and 6th largest markets in our industry. Okay, so it's a really strong area. The fact is that in Latin America, the market is dominated by the party plan beauty people, but the MLM organizations are now getting smarter, they're getting stronger, and so we expect those to really power ahead, the smart ones to power ahead in the coming years. When it comes to the third region in the world, which is the Europe, Middle East, and Africa region, there is positive growth in Africa and Middle East, but it's a very, very tiny element of the world. I'm really excited about what's happening in Africa. I know lots and lots of organizations are seeing fantastic results from Ghana to South Africa, so it all looks good. When it comes to Europe, it's growing, okay, but we need a bit of a reality check because it's 19% of the world, okay, probably a little bit less if you added all the sort of grey companies. But in reality, the vast majority of countries are sort of up and down. And if it wasn't really for the constant growth out of big markets like the UK, Germany, France, Italy, and Turkey, the numbers wouldn't look as pretty. And the reason for that is really obvious for anyone who knows Europe. The sort of regulations and the skepticism and the problems of the European Union and the sort of they're the causes of the extreme unemployment. The opportunities are there, but it is true that the philosophy of people that they don't have the opportunity, expansive mentalities that you see in the Asian marketplace. But what I will say is that I know a lot of organisations in Europe are turning that challenge into an opportunity, as they should do. And so that sort of success is happening first in the large countries, which is why we're seeing that sort of strong growth in those larger countries. And that's great, because that should filter out to the rest of the marketplace over the coming years. So I'm very optimistic about the European market, but it's, we just have to be real about what's happening there. In reality, the global direct sales industry is strong, but it is an evolutionary period. It's a classic strategic development. It just reflects the entrepreneurial nature of the world at the moment. Asia's the powerhouse, it's more than just China. Everywhere from Pakistan to New Zealand. The US market is becoming less significant and less influential as it has been for many decades. Latin America grows, but it's not as entrepreneurial driven. It's still a little bit focused on the small time sales area, but that's, I think, is changing. Europe is up and down. When we look at the next 5 years, I think more of the same out of Asia, dominating the marketplace. America, I think, is going to get stronger, and same with Europe. A little bit up and down, but the smart people who are getting professional, who are thinking bigger, and just being smarter about the business rather than treating it like some sort of amateur, these guys are really killing it. So you just want to make sure your mindset's in the right place, and I'm sure you're going to have a fantastic future. I hope this was valuable. Thanks a lot. Rock and roll. Bye-bye.